Hello, welcome to another episode of Coffee and HEMA with me, Jamie McKeever. Today I want to talk about tournament resilience, um, which is mostly going to be me explaining why I don't like the term resilience at all, because I think that's kind of critical for the understanding sort of what I mean by how to kind of improve on tournament resilience and how everybody has a contributing role within that. The term resilience comes up a lot in kind of workplace environments, and the short version of it is it's the ability to kind of persevere, keep going despite hardships. And the reason I don't like it, particularly in a workplace environment, is most of the time it's used to say put up with the crappy environment that we've created or that the world's created. Um, my, yeah, and for the most part, yes, it's not. It places the emphasis on the individual, right? That's why I don't like the term, rather than on the organization or the people to stop to resolve this kind of crappy environment. But for the most part, without exceptions, when it comes to tournaments, the reason why I think it's kind of important to talk about it from a perspective of tournaments is most of the time the crappy environment, the pressure, the stress of a tournament is being added by the participant rather than the environment, with some exceptions that I'll talk about at the end. Because, and I think this is important, keep this in mind, HEMA tournaments don't matter. It's fun, right? It's great to come out at the end of a tournament, come away with a medal. And I appreciate it's easier for me to say this as somebody who's got a fistful of medals. I'm not the top most medaled competitor in the world or even in the UK by any stretch, but I've got plenty of medals under my belt. I don't need to chase the next one to say that the medals don't matter, but they don't. They really don't. The 3 pound bits of tin, not even tin would be more expensive for the same amount of size, that I've got hanging on a wall, really in the big scheme of things are not particularly important. But competitors put a lot of stress on themselves to kind of chase it, to perform, to say, well, this is my moment to shine, I deserve this medal. And invariably, people have a worse time of a tournament when they are putting pressure on themselves, or maybe someone else is putting pressure on them to win it, to be the best, to pursue it. And you can really, I say this as somebody who's judged a lot of tournaments and been there, you can really see it in competitive behavior when they are hungry for a medal. People who have routinely gotten to kind of late stages in eliminations and never quite got a medal. Frankly, their behavior gets worse. Their kind of sportsmanship, their ability to have a laugh with their opponent afterwards, all this kind of stuff drops a lot. The hungrier someone is for a medal, the more they think they deserve it. So the main trick for tournament resilience is to make sure that no matter what happens, you're going to keep coming back and keep having fun, is stop putting so much pressure on yourself to make sure that you think you deserve the medal that you think you deserve. Doesn't matter if you don't get it, right? You lose a fight because a judging errors go against you, and that does happen, absolutely, and it is frustrating. I agree, and I've been there. I've lost fights by points that definitely I consider to be judging errors. And so what? Right, the faster you can let that go. I'm not going to say don't let it bother you. It still bothers me, right? You come out at the end of the fight, you think you should have won, and actually think you should have won. You're going to be pissed. But the faster you can remind yourself that A, it doesn't really matter the big scheme of things. B, the judges made some errors, yes, but they're doing their best in a difficult environment. And C, in the big scheme of things, so what? The more enjoyment you're going to get out of those kinds of tournaments. So the first thing, as I say, for tournament resilience is stop putting pressure on yourself as much as you can. There will be an element of pressure. There will be an element of wanting to perform. You're not going to get rid of that entirely. And also when you are kind of judged, combat judged martial arts stuff, for some reason, whatever, adrenaline is way higher than if you're just kind of sparring. One of the reasons I like it. But as I say, try and not put so much pressure on yourself to perform. Just accept that it is what it is. But having said all that, there are some things that kind of contribute to this. And outside of this sort of the pressure aspects, well, there are pressure aspects that are put on externally as well. And my advice to everybody is stop as much as you can. You know, don't uh, don't as a coach really put pressure on your students, especially your newer students, to you know, come out swinging for the houses and win everything. You know, the participation is the important part. The fact that they're going there and having fun. It is quite difficult, and this is one thing I struggle with still. You know, it's quite easy to celebrate people's successes in tournaments. It's much more difficult to celebrate that they just went and had fun and did good. I would try at least to mention that, you know, that you watched other people's fights who weren't the winners, who didn't come out with medals, and just say, oh my God, you know, Sarah fenced brilliantly in this, or Bob was fantastic. I saw this wonderful strike from Bob. You know, whether or not they succeeded ultimately, or even won the fight or won the tournament, you know, try and encourage and support in those aspects too, to make it clear that, you know, it's not just about the winners. Tournament organizers can also help with this one, because one big challenge, one reason why it's quite frustrating to lose the judging area sometimes is that often that means that you're done, right? You've got no other thing. So I would encourage you to consider tournament design that means actually you're all getting roughly the same number of fights regardless of how well you perform. You might not all be in the chance for winning it. I like Swiss system for this. I like I've done a few things where it's successive rounds of pools. They're fun. I've done a few things where everybody gets a final match against the person who's closest to them across the tournament. So yes, you're winning. You've got the top two people are competing for gold. The bottom two people are competing for, you know, bottom and second last. That's some great feedback from even the people who've come last in that, and so this is fantastic. You know, they've got some stuff. So as an organizer, consider things that make it clear that actually the tournament is about everybody, not just about the 3 people walking away with shiny things at the end of it. And as a whole, right, if we want people to continually come back to tournaments and enjoy them, then what we need to be doing is reducing the pressure to perform, because I strongly believe that it's not just about the winners for tournaments. It's about everybody coming along. You know, most people in a tournament will not win it by definition unless it's a really, really small tournament. And it is equally important that the person who came last had fun, enjoyed it, and wants to come back, as it is for the person who came first, enjoyed it, and wants to come back. So as a competitor, stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Just go there, have fun. As an organizer, try and think of formats that encourage, that mean that everybody gets a good day of fencing, right, regardless of how they perform. So they haven't traveled, you know, 4,000 miles and get 4 fights and they're done. As a coach, try and encourage people not just celebrate the successes of your successful ones, but celebrate the successes of people who are participating, who are having fun, who are fencing well, who are showing good sporting behaviour, and not just celebrating the victories and the winners, to give the impression that that's what you need to aim for. That's the only thing that matters, and do this kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, HEMA tournaments, as I say, don't matter. None of us are making a living off HEMA tournaments. Even the winners, even with the most successful tournaments that have massive prizes at the end, the winner has probably still spent more money to do that tournament, if you count travel, you count accommodation, all this kind of stuff, than the value of the prize, right? So they really do not matter. Let's stop putting so much pressure on each other. Let's just go, let's have fun, let's enjoy it, and hopefully then we will keep coming back no matter what. Thanks for listening.